Good afternoon. I'm Alesa Loftus, and sitting next to me is Jimmie Ratliff. We're with Dynamic Independence, and today we're going to address the top 10 questions about service animals and give answers according to the ADA. Jimmie, what does the ADA consider to be a service animal?
So the ADA defines a service animal as a dog that has specialized training to do work or perform tasks for an individual who has a disability. The work that the dog performs must be directly related to assisting that individual with their disability.
Okay. So what are some of the specific tasks that a service animal might be trained to perform?
Right. So when we think of different tasks, we might think, what kind of disability does someone have? And so one of the most common service animals that we think of is like a guide dog. A guide dog might assist individuals who are blind, or have low vision to navigate around obstacles or through crowds, also whenever they're crossing the street. Also, there are other types of dogs as well. A hearing dog may alert individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing to the presence of other people around them, or even sounds. Some of the sounds they can alert to are things like smoke detectors, alarm going off. They may be phones ringing, traffic that's approaching, someone who's approaching behind them, and even whenever that individual has a disability's name is called. So if their friend comes up and says, "Hey, Bob," then the dog may give some sort of alert that somebody has called their name. Many service animals can sense when an individual is about to have an episode of something like maybe a panic attack, or even a seizure, or when their blood sugar gets too high or too low, and they may alert the handler by licking them on the hand or by providing some other cue, a nudge or something like that, to let that handler know that this type of thing is happening. And it's important to always remember that not all service animals are trained to do the same things. The specific training that that dog has will depend upon the disability that the handler has.
Okay. And some service animals have been trained to retrieve items?
That's correct, yes. They actually, people can train their dogs to go get things like phones or medications and different things like that they may need.
So do you have to have a doctor prescribe or recommend that you need a service animal in order to obtain a service animal?
No. The service animal only must meet the ADA requirements that we talked about earlier, and that is being trained to do a specific task. You don't have to have any prescription, so to say, for a service animal.
So how would you obtain a service animal?
So there is about 3 different ways that you can do that. You can reach out to an organization that provides fully trained service dogs. You can have your dog trained by your personal dog that you already have trained by an organization that does that, or you can train your own service dog.
Okay.
Training a service animal takes a lot of time and dedication, and there's a lot of repetition that's used to develop that ability for them to perform their specific tasks every time that they're needed. So it's up to the handler who has the disability which method they prefer to use to obtain their service animal.
Okay, and do service animals have to be trained by a professional, or are they required to have any kind of special certification?
No, the ADA doesn't mandate any kind of professional training for service animals. Individuals with disabilities have the right to train their own service animal. The ADA does not require service animals to be certified. There are some organizations out there that might offer certifications or registrations stating that dogs are service animals, but they don't hold any weight at all under the ADA. Service animals aren't subject to any kind of additional fees either. So if you have a landlord or you have a city or something like that, and they have a fee for registering your dog, say with the city, they can charge you the same fee that they would for another animal, but they can't charge you any additional fees because it's a service animal.
Okay, all right. And so there are service animals and emotional support animals. What's the difference?
So the ADA doesn't consider emotional support animals to be service animals. Service animals are trained to do specific tasks like we had discussed, but emotional support animals provide support through companionship. Generally, service animals can enter places like businesses that are open to the public, nonprofits, state and local government facilities, and anywhere else that's generally open like that. A lot of times emotional support animals cannot.
Okay.
So they're not afforded the same rights, basically, as the service animal would be.
Right. So what type of temperament generally is looked for?
So you're looking for things, good qualities would be a calm demeanor, friendly personality, intelligence, eagerness to please the handler, and one of the biggest things is focus, because they have to be on point all the time to make sure that their handler isn't put into danger because they are distracted or because they didn't take an action whenever they should have to alert their handler.
Right. So if someone goes with a disability goes into a place that's open to the public, like the grocery store, convenience store, someplace, restaurant, what do they have to show to prove that their animal is a service animal?
So the ADA states that you can only ask 2 questions regarding a service animal when someone comes in who has a service animal. And those 2 questions are, is this service animal required because of a disability? And what task or work does it perform? What task has it been trained to perform? So for that for a disability. So you're not required to provide any additional documentation or information about your disability if you have a service animal, or any kind of documentation or certification for that service animal.
Okay. And what if these places has like a no pets policy?
So allowing a service animal into a facility with no pets policy, that is considered a reasonable accommodation under the Americans with Disability Act. And the Act also mandates that entities should make reasonable modifications under their policies, practices, or procedures to accommodate people with disabilities, and that includes their service animal.
Okay. So if you see a working service animal, can you engage with it, pet it, come up, love on it?
We all want to. You see a dog, you want to pet it. But no, these are working animals. They are not considered pets because they are working. And their presence and focus are crucial for their handler's safety and for their handlers to be able to navigate daily life. Your cooperation, my cooperation, in minimizing distractions when you're around somebody with a service animal for that animal can keep its handler safe, and it allows it to effectively perform its duties that it needs to.
Awesome. Okay. So we hope that this information has been helpful to those of you who have tuned in today. And if you have any other questions about service animals, please leave them in the comments. And as always, you can contact us directly at 918-335-1314, or come in and say hi and talk to us in person at 1110 Southeast Frank Phillips Boulevard here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. As always, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.